everybody, welcome back to another video. Over the course of this last week, I have been asking you to submit questions for a Q&A video that I would be doing. I did one of these a few months ago, but I figured that now that I'm sitting at around 1,200 subscribers, that it would be a good idea to do a second Q&A video. So what I'm going to do now is pull up the questions that I received. I'll display them on the screen, and then I will go through and answer them. I have not read these in advance, and that's simply because I didn't want to, prepare answers, things like that. I want to go off the cuff, give my honest first reaction to these questions. So let's get into the first one. Joey, question for the Q&A. If you had to have like a last meal, like on death row, what would you pick? First of all, I want to like and heart this. Last meal. I think I would have to go buffet style and get a lot of my favorite foods all at once. So I'd have to get some orange chicken. I'd have to get some fried rice. I'd have to get some onion rings. Probably a bacon cheeseburger, some macaroni and cheese, some cornbread, some smoked brisket, probably a nice big slice of Texas toast, a nice warm chocolate brownie. I think that's what I would go with, a nice little buffet style plate like that with all of my favorite foods on it. So thank you so much, Joey, for the question. Let's find the next question. From Savage Cabbage. How are things with... Oh, that's weird. How are things with a long distance girl? Things are going well. She is going to come and visit me out here. Instead of us meeting in a place neither of us live, she's coming out to visit here in December. She will be here for Christmas through to New Year's and leaving early January. But it's going to be cool. She's going to come out and she's going to do Christmas with me and my family. And we have been working on figuring out the details for me relocating to Australia long term. My passport expired. I used to have one when I was younger for when we took family trips to Mexico all the time, but that had expired. So I'm submitting my paperwork to get a new passport now, and then after my passport's approved, it's just a matter of looking into the different visa options. We already know the visas we want to get, but applying for those visas, and then you just kind of wait. It's just kind of a waiting game at that point. But to answer the question, things are going very well. Very well. Okay. Alright, there's a lot of questions on this one. This is a really good one. From Rocco B03. What celebrity / YouTuber do you look up to? I don't watch, well, I do watch a lot of YouTube, but I don't watch any one person a lot. As far as YouTubers go, I watch a lot of that's not ASMR, by the way, like a normal YouTuber, not an ASMR YouTuber. I watch a lot of Ludwig. I watch Atrioc. Actually, let me go through my subs real quick, because I'm sure I'm like missing something obvious. Oh, there's a great YouTube channel called Baseball Doesn't Exist. I love that channel. But I'm not sure if I really look up to any YouTubers, because when I think of looking up to somebody, I think of somebody that's made like a considerable positive influence in the world, right? They've made a positive impact, made people's lives better. Maybe who's that basketball player who like donates a ton of his money to like African infrastructure? He's a center. He was never that good of a center, but I don't know. Also, probably Ashton Kutcher. If people don't know, Ashton Kutcher created this website and has worked with a lot of like sex trafficking organizations to help save women that are in really bad situations. I think that's very admirable. Biggest pet peeve. Biggest pet peeve would be people who ignore me, I'd say. Like when you know they can hear you, and they act like they can't, or even if like they ask you a question or ask for clarification or instructions on something, and you tell them what they want to know, but then they either don't do it or they ask somebody else because they feel like your answer isn't good enough, and then when somebody else tells them the exact same thing, then they accept it. That's a really big pet peeve of mine. Finally, biggest fear for me, heights and flying are my two biggest fears. I recently, that's not finally, by the way, there's one more question, but I recently went rock climbing to try and help my fear of heights. I got about 15-20 feet off the ground each time before I just became like paralyzed with fear and had to drop down. Like I never even got halfway up to the top. And you see some of these little kids just going right up, no problem. So that kinda hits you in the manhood a little bit, but I've accepted that I have a fear of heights, and with that fear of heights comes a fear of flying. Being that far off the ground in a very confined, claustrophobic space is very uncomfortable for me. I always have to get drunk before every flight, as stupid as that sounds, to, just kind of calm my nerves and get myself through it. And finally, from Rocco, if you could spend a whole day with a celebrity, who would it be? Quentin Tarantino. Quentin Tarantino is my favorite director. My favorite film of all time is Reservoir Dogs, his first widely released motion picture. My best friend's wedding, I don't count it. And he inspired me to get into videography, to get into screenwriting, things like that. What I do for, a job for money outside of YouTube and everything else, obviously, is I'm a freelance videographer, and Quentin Tarantino is responsible for me getting into that as a passion, and hopefully someday as a career. I would love to make a short film someday, and even if it doesn't get picked up, by Hollywood or anything like that, just make a film that I could, throw on Amazon Prime or Netflix or something for, I think that would be awesome. Or even just play it in a local theater for, whoever. I would absolutely love that. And Quentin Tarantino fostered that in me, so I would love to spend the day with him, pick his brain. I truly don't think there's anybody on this planet who has seen more films, who knows more about film than Quentin Tarantino. So thank you, Rocco B03, for the question, and I hope the Steelers have a decent season this season. Next question. Here we go. Give this a like and a heart. We have Jason Carger. Q&A questions. What is your all-time biggest fear / nightmare? Well, I just talked about my biggest fears, but I want to all talk about the nightmare. I don't have very many dreams. Like, most of the time I sleep, I don't have dreams, nightmares, any of that. But when I do have nightmares, it's always the same recurring nightmare that I've had many, many times in my life. The same exact one. It plays out the same way every single time. And it's basically me in my parents' house. And it's like, the layout is similar but different enough, you know what I'm saying? But in the context of the dream, I know that it's my parents' house, even though it looks somewhat different. And it's very haunted by, like, aggressive, like, paranormal activity style ghosts, where I'm being, like, pulled down the stairs, and, like, I'm seeing things chasing after me, but that are all, like, ghosts, and they disappear and reappear, and things like that. So I do not have dreams or nightmares often, but when I do have a nightmare, that is basically always the nightmare that I have. Plus, if a zombie apocalypse were to break out right now, what would your initial plan be? The nice thing about a zombie apocalypse, right, is that you just need to shoot them in the head. So I have a lot of 22 long rifle ammo. I would load up my 22, because if you just hit something in the brain with a 22, that's enough. You don't need the stopping power if you're aiming for the head anyway, and it's quiet and it's cheap, and I have like a lot of 22, so I'd load that up, and I'd probably, depending on who was home at the time, load my roommates up in my car, and then go collect my family. My family all lives within 100 miles of me, so I'd be able to hopefully get them all in the car. Now, the hardest part, worse than the zombies, would be dealing with other people. People would be desperate for food, supplies. You know, you'd be dealing with violence mainly from other human beings at the outset. So it would be a lot of avoidance of that, or self-defense against other people that you'd be taking into account. Work my way, get my family, and then I think I would try to head for the San Juan Islands. Anywhere that you have to take a boat to. So I would probably get a boat and then take it up to the Olympic Peninsula, and probably try and get everyone on that boat out to the San Juan Islands. Anything where there's a large body of water between you and the mainland, but there's still natural resources on that island, like food and things like that, and it's large enough to, have people actually comfortably live on. I think that would be my initial plan. Thank you very much, Jason Carger, for that question. Alright, next question we have Hoodie Ginge. Question: is Kyle Fox your real name? So Kyle Fox is the name I am using in my 2K playthrough right now. And no, Kyle Fox is not my real name. It is kind of a cool name though, so I wouldn't be mad if it was. But no, Kyle Fox is not my real name. Anytime I do any career modes on any games, I kind of always pick a fictional name, a fictional character to make. I have a few, Kyle Fox is a new one, but in the past I have used Yaguchi Kazuma, and I have used Jalen Adams, I believe are the two I've used previously for different sports careers. So thank you for the question, Hoodie Ginge. This is not so much a question as it is a comment, but Michael is saying that he wants me to do more gym content. My most viewed video on this channel is my workout routine. My only issue with that is, well, I have a few issues. I don't really know what other sorts of ASMR gym content I could do, because like filming workouts and stuff is tricky, because setting up a camera and filming while there's other people at the gym makes me uncomfortable, and people would probably get upset with me. Also, it's inherently not relaxing. You have, me grunting, groaning, making noises, straining, trying to lift the weights. You have the loud music playing in the gym. You have the clanging of the metal and the weight. It is inherently unrelaxing. I did my workout routine. Sorry, I did my workout routine video, and I haven't really changed it much. I'd maybe things I've changed about my workout plan, that could be a video, but beyond that, I'm really not sure what I could do for more gym content. But if any of you guys have an idea on what that could be, maybe I'm just not thinking creatively enough, please let me know. Thank you, Michael. For the next one, we have Ryan Evans. Q&A, whereabouts are you from and how old are you? I am from the Portland, Oregon area. I've lived here pretty much all my life, around the Portland, Seattle area, the Pacific Northwest. And I just recently turned 28. My birthday was last month in August. So, thank you, Ryan, for the question. Another one that is just a comment, but I'll show it anyway. Ben Ray, I'd enjoy any fact whisper videos. Noted. Because I watch a lot of those, like facts about the Roman Empire, facts about food, like whatever, noted. I would have to take some time to write up some lists on facts and things like that, but that's a really good idea. Thank you, Ben. Okay. Let's see. Alright. XCraft01 Q&A. If you have any, who's your favorite soccer players / clubs? Besides Lewandowski, Bayern and Portland Timbers, of course, mainly from the top 5 leagues. So I do mainly just follow Bayern. Even Portland, I haven't been watching as many of their games recently. They just had a pretty good win over Atlanta today, 2-1. I still get score updates and stuff like that. I have not been to a game. It's probably been 2 years since I've been to a game. I would like to go to another one soon. I've said before that I don't really follow any teams in the Premier League, but if I were to, I would probably support Leeds United. I don't really have a reason for that. Something about Leeds, I just look at the branding and everything, it just kind of speaks to me. I don't really follow anybody in La Liga. Trying to think of the other leagues. Yeah, if anything besides the ones I've already talked about, it would have to be Leeds, but I do not watch Premier League. But if Leeds were in Europa League, if they were in Champions League, or if I'm at a bar and they have the Premier League on and Leeds is playing, whoever XCraft01 for the question. This is a good one. This is a good one. Q&A. Which NHL team fan base do you dislike the most and why? I've talked about this before. It is the Colorado Avalanche fan base. Not last year, but the year before when Vegas beat the Avalanche. There was like that first game in the series where the Avalanche beat Vegas like 7-1 or 7-2 or something like that. It might have been 7-0. But it was like a big blowout win for the Avalanche. And like their fans were just going crazy on Twitter. And I don't know if any of you guys are into hockey Twitter, but hockey Twitter gets nasty. And especially as a Vegas fan, like Vegas gets a lot of negativity on social media. Like a lot of it. There's like entire Instagram meme pages just dedicated to like hating on the Vegas Golden Knights, right? So I was like on hockey Twitter like after that win, and I was like, oh, this is depressing, like whatever. And then Vegas started rattling off wins, and Vegas ultimately beat Colorado in that series. So I started going at some of those people that had been going at me when they blew us out. And I think I've talked about before, like some of those Twitter arguments lasted months. Like we were in each other's mentions for months after the playoffs had even ended, right? And it got really a lot of animosity. I think that there was a fight in Colorado's arena between some Colorado fans and some Vegas fans. And I know like the cliche answer would be the Sharks, right? But with how bad the Sharks have been recently, that kind of feels like it's died down a little bit. And right now, I feel like the team that Vegas fans, and me specifically, dislike the most would be the Avalanche. And second would probably be the Minnesota Wild. The series we had against the Minnesota Wild, there was some bad blood there. There was a lot of Minnesota fans who were like making photoshops about the Vegas shooting and things like that, and it just got nasty. So for me, that would be my answer. The two fan bases I personally dislike the most would be the Avalanche and the Wild. Okay. Next question. Footy Facts ASMR. Q&A. What made you support Bayern Munich? And do you support/watch any soccer games in the USA? Now I don't know what came first. I've been telling this story for a little while. There's two reasons I support Bayern, and I'm not sure which event happened first, because it was so long ago. In my very first FIFA game I ever played, and I don't remember which one it was on the 360, that's all I know. I made a character, I made a player, and I was playing for the Portland Timbers, because like that was like really the only team I knew, right? And the first transfer offer I got was to get purchased by Bayern Munich in my FIFA career. So because of that, I just decided, well, that's the team I'm gonna support. Because my like really good striker had been playing for Portland for like 3 seasons and was like a 97 overall or whatever. Got a transfer offer to go to Bayern and I accepted it. That's one event. The other thing that happened was, I believe it was 2014, Bayern Munich traveled to the United States to Portland to play the MLS All-Stars, and I was at that game, and that was like, oh, okay, I really like this Bayern team, like this is a really exciting team, and it made me like look into them more and support them. Now both of those things did happen, but I don't know which happened first and which led to the other, because that was like 7 years ago, like something like that, and unfortunately I have a bad memory as it is. But one of those two reasons or why I support Bayern Munich. And do I watch any soccer games in the USA? Yeah, I watch Portland Timbers occasionally, not as much as I used to. But I'll also watch the U.S. men's national team, whenever. Not really the friendlies, but anything that's for qualifications, I'll watch those. Alright. NFL fan Q&A question. Do you have a Super Bowl winner yet? Or who do you think the Super Bowl matchup will be? And the Super Bowl winner? I don't have an idea for the matchup, but I think it's going to be a cop-out. But the only three teams I really consider contenders are the Bills, the Bengals, and the Rams. Those are the three teams that I think have a decent shot at actually winning. Like, if I had to make a bet right now, if it was like, put down $100, pick three teams. If one of these three teams wins the Super Bowl, you get $1,000. I would do that and pick those three as my three options. But I think that's pretty much everybody has those three options. I don't have a matchup though for the Super Bowl. I don't know. I just think it'll be one of those three. So thank you, NFL fan, for the question. Next question, Zeno Shellens, Q&A. Hey man, would it be possible to let us know the backstory as to your tattoos? Most of these don't really have a backstory. I'm not one of those people that gets a tattoo because it has some deep meaning to it. I have this tiger because I think tigers are cool, and I kind of got it in like a Japanesey style, just without the color. I got these boxing gloves because I like boxing, and I actually got these while drunk in Vegas at a shop that has like $20 flash tattoos, and that's also the reason behind my eagle. I got the eagle at that exact same place under the same circumstances. I got those done at the same time. My lightsaber, that's because I like Star Wars. My wolf. Let me do this. My wolf. I just like wolves. One of my favorite animals. Really cool. My vampire lady. Same thing. I really like vampires. They're like my favorite mythological creature. I've been obsessed with vampires since I was a teenager. And I have one more on my leg. I'll insert a picture of that here. The leg is an owl landing on a fence in the negative space. So the negative space makes up the fence. And in the background you have the Portland skyline with the Made in Oregon sign, the white stag sign. So that kind of represents home. That's kind of the only tattoo I have that really has any meaning. And it was the first one I got. Yeah, that one just kind of represents home and being out here and where I grew up. So thank you for the question, Zeno Shellens. Okay, let's look for some more questions. Only a few more left. So from Sean Street 53 for Q&A, what are your thoughts on Julio Rodriguez getting that monster contract? Love the videos, been watching for a while now, love everything you do. Thank you very much, Sean. My thoughts. I think it's possible that it could end up being bad in a few years, but that's where the team options come in. Julio Julio has had a monster rookie season, but the last little while he's been cooling off. The last little while he's been cooling off a bit. He did have a home run today. His averages have been down a little bit. He's been swinging at some bad pitches and stuff, but he's still a rookie, and his defense in center field has been very good. And it's one of those things where a lot of fans were hoping we would lock him up. I think it could either end up being an overpay, or it could end up being really, really cheap within the next few years if he continues to play and to progress at the level he has been. The other thing about it is I like that it's locking up a hometown player long term. Because one of the fears was like Julio's going to be really good, Seattle isn't going to want to pay him, and he's going to go to LA, New York, Houston, whatever. And like this guy who was supposed to be the hope for the future is now gone, playing in a big market, probably winning a World Series, right? So that was kind of the fear that Julio, that would happen. But now that's not happening. And the Mariners have a hometown, beloved young player locked up for more than a decade. So Julio's going to be around, be that symbol of the team. You're going to be able to build around this exciting player, projected to be one of the best players in baseball over the next few years, according to the stat projections, or, however much weight you want to give to those. And he's going to be here, So even though it could potentially be a lot of money, and maybe there's a chance he ends up not being worth it, although I personally think he will continue to play and get better and improve, and it's just that security, and it's kind of nice just to get one, Griffey left, Ichiro left, A-Rod left, but Julio isn't going to leave. I would say it's likely that he retires a Mariner now, and that'll be huge for the fan base, for the team, for the popularity of baseball in this area, because for a while, Mariners were not the biggest game in town. The Seahawks were, and with the Kraken going into Seattle, and the Sounders being good and like winning a lot, I don't live in Seattle, but Mariners were kind of like the fourth fiddle. But the Kraken haven't been that great. Seahawks are going to be terrible. Sounders have had a bad run of form. I would say right now the Mariners are the most popular sports team in Seattle, perhaps most popular across the entire Pacific Northwest. And Julio is a big part of that. So it's huge. That's really important. And that cultural aspect of what his extension means, it goes beyond just the on-field product. So thank you, Sean Street 53, for the question. Do we have any more? Here's one from John Boeri for Q&A. How tall? Wait, did I like that? I did. For Q&A, how tall are you? I am 6'3", 215 pounds at the moment. My weight's been kind of fluctuating, but 6'3", 215 pounds. For my European viewers, 6'3" inches in centimeters, that's 190.5 centimeters. That's how tall I am. Alright. Thank you very much, John Wary, for the question. Silly Goose, a top commenter on this channel. Always love seeing Silly Goose's comments. For Q&A, who is your favorite actor? For a long time, my favorite actor has been Christian Bale. I absolutely love Christian Bale. I think he is one of the greatest, most prolific actors of all time. But recent actors that I've really been enjoying, Austin Butler. I love the Elvis movie. I'm very excited to see what Austin Butler does with his career going forward. I really enjoy opinion. And, oh, what's her name? Let's see. She was in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I think she was in a few other things. Margaret Qualley. Is this who I'm thinking of? I don't know. I don't know what I'm thinking of. I'm trying to find this actress. I can't at the moment. It might be Margaret Qualley. Although Margot Robbie's in this movie too, and I like her. But yeah, Christian Bale's my favorite actor across the board, but like young actors right now I enjoy. Adam Driver isn't really that young, but Adam Driver, Austin Butler. Alright, any other questions? Here's one. Zach F. What sports did you play when you were younger? In what positions? Also, why do you support Bayern Munich? I already talked about why I support Bayern Munich, that last question, but I actually did not play any sports when I was younger. All through school, middle school, high school, I was a scene kid. I was like a metalhead. I was like an emo kid, like that sort of stuff. I wore skinny jeans. My hair was dyed black and like straightened in a fringe over half my face. Like, I looked nothing like I do now. If I can find a picture of myself around that age, I'll put it in here now. But yeah, I look nothing like I do now. I was not into sports. I was not into any of the interests that I have now, so I did not play any sports in school. I only started playing sports when I got a bit older. I started playing pickup basketball with some friends, and that kind of led to me watching basketball, which led to me watching other sports, and that ballooned. Now I play all sorts of stuff. I've played softball, basketball, I've played field hockey, because don't get me started on the fact that the hockey rink is refusing to give me lessons. I'll go on a tangent. But yeah, so unfortunately I did not play sports when I was younger. I wish that I had, but I've been able to play rec league stuff now that I'm older. Alright, any other questions? Okay. Lil Reps official. I got more of these questions than I thought. If a zombie apocalypse broke out right now, what would your initial plan be? I already talked about that. A lot of people interested in my zombie apocalypse plan. But the hardest video I ever released, what was the hardest video you ever released? Probably that DC video. That took me, the DC Cinematic Universe video I did. That took me a solid 3-4 days, maybe a week, of like thinking of things, planning that out. That was all. It took a lot of time and effort coming up with all that, a lot of like researching into certain things, so I would say that is probably the hardest video I've ever released. Thank you, Lil Reps official. Next question. Tyler Bradshaw, Q&A. Odds the Buffalo Sabres make the playoffs this next season. Let me look. Let me just refresh myself. Who will they be? Who will they be playing? Who's in their division? I just want to take a look at these teams and like think of their rosters. So Buffalo was 5th in the Atlantic this season, but they were like 32 points behind Boston, who was in 4th place. So for the Atlantic, I think Toronto wins the division. I think Florida or Tampa Bay takes 2nd, and then the other takes 3rd. I could see Boston falling off, and Buffalo maybe taking 4th over Boston. I don't think there's any way Buffalo gets top 3 in the Atlantic. odds the Buffalo Sabres make the playoffs. Owen Power is expected to come in. He could be an X factor. If Owen Power comes in and makes an instant impact, he could push them into that 4th spot in the Atlantic. But that's tricky. Because let's see, they had Washington. Washington had 100, so Washington had 25 more points than them. So if they wanted to try and get in that wild card spot, they're competing with Carolina, New York Rangers, Pittsburgh, Washington. I could maybe see Washington falling off a bit. I could see Boston falling off a bit. If Alex Tuck, Peyton Krebs take a step forward, if Owen Power comes in and he's good, I'm gonna go. Actually, I think that there could be a decent chance Buffalo does make the playoffs next season. Now, Montreal should bounce back. I don't expect them to be as bad next season as they were last season. Detroit was only 1 point behind Buffalo. They're a young team that's getting better. Ottawa was 2 points behind Buffalo. I don't think Ottawa will be much better next season. The Islanders had more points than Buffalo. The Blue Jackets had more points than Buffalo. Actually, if they need to get that wild card spot, I don't think they're getting top 3. I'm going to go 30%. I'll give the odds of the Buffalo Sabres making the playoffs at 30%. 30%. 3 out of 10. That is my prediction. Alright. And that's it. That is the final question. Thank you so much, Tyler Bashaw, for being the final question in this video. So, thank you guys so much for all the great questions. We got way more in this video than we did the first time around, so that was really cool. I really enjoyed it. We had a nice mix of things in there. Personal questions, sports questions, content stuff. Like, that was a really nice mix of questions there, and I appreciate it. So, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for all the great questions. At some point in the future, when I have considerably more subscribers than I do now, I'll probably do another one of these, just because, like, this is always fun. It's nice talking about yourself, you know. But yeah, thank you. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a thumbs up and subscribe for more content just like this pretty much every single day. Until next time, guys. Bye bye.